Are you curious about Enneagram Ones? Do you want to understand more about this type? Are you wondering if you or a friend could be an Enneagram One? Hey, this is Evan from EnneagramGift.com, where we help curate the best and most helpful Enneagram content to help you thrive. And in this video, we're going to discuss the Enneagram One. Enneagram Ones are known as the perfectionists and will work with laser focus to strictly adhere to an ideal principle that they believe is good. They will tirelessly work until they are content with the results. Understanding Enneagram Ones can be a little intimidating at first. At face value, this type may seem to have everything together. Under the surface, they're often brimming with unresolved expectations and desires. Enneagram Ones care deeply about quality and improving standards to accelerate purpose and goodness in the world around them. Let's talk about what it's like to live as an Enneagram One. The Enneagram One's motivation is to be good and virtuous, and these desires and principles can develop differently and manifest in a variety of ways. Typically, you can identify an Enneagram One by observing their characteristics and behaviors when they're working on a project or within their career. Their attention to detail and their ability to create structure in order to improve something is uncanny and recognizable. Their motives to improve comes from a strong desire to justify and direct their passions into something that they believe is correct and good. Enneagram Ones are a part of the gut triad and most commonly experience the emotion of anger, and their core fear is to be wrong or perceived as evil. When moving towards unhealth, a strong sense of anger can brood under the surface when their improvements seem to fall short or just aren't enough. Coupled with unresolved expectations can be frustrating and difficult to manage. And because they see this anger as an undesirable trait, this creates an additional internal turmoil within them. They are swirling with a passion for creating structure out of chaos and can also use rationale to regulate their emotions so that their work can be admired. And to uphold their strict standards, they're able to exercise self-discipline and organization to ensure everything is as good as possible. There are also some key traits that are identifiable to the Enneagram One. As mentioned, they can be very rational, black and white in their thinking, moral, and focused on perfectionism. They also feel a deep sense of responsibility to improve themselves and the world around them. And they're not afraid to take action. However, this step is normally internally focused because of their belief that things can be better and the high expectations that they place upon themselves. The core desire of an Enneagram One is to have integrity, to be good, full of virtue, and correct. And the message Enneagram Ones most want to hear is that you are good. Because of these qualities, Enneagram Ones also have some tremendous strengths. They are willing to help and come to the defense of others. They have a keen eye and attention to detail. They want to pursue quality and are willing to scrutinize their work in order to produce the best possible results. They're able to see beyond the current state of how things are and picture an idealized reality of what's possible. They can also act with a great sense of motivation. Because they act from their morals and their tightly held beliefs, they're not easily swayed from external influences. They also can be very community-oriented. They're willing to engage and interact in order to bring about positive change for the good of everyone. There are also some common weaknesses that are familiar to the Enneagram One. They can be obsessive. They can become so invested in their ideas that they are unable to experience a measure of happiness until the results that they desire are reached. They can also be very unrealistic. If reality and their ideals have stark contrast, they may develop a distorted perspective to help them cope with the differences. They can also be overly critical, leading them to focus on their flaws and those of others to an unhealthy degree. They can also become self-righteous. By becoming so entrenched in their own ideals, they may label any outside perspective as wrong or immoral without giving any chance to understand. In general, Enneagram Ones struggle with things like anger, accepting mistakes, condemning thoughts, and disagreements. However, Enneagram Ones find great joy in things like planning, organization, and supporting just causes. Enneagram Ones care deeply about quality and the pursuit of improving standards in order to accelerate purpose and goodness in the world around them. Ones are willing to lead by example because they care so much about integrity, and they're willing to stand for what they believe is right and good. They can also be very reliable and responsible people who will hold to their word and see things through to completion. They have a keen eye for detail and will hold tightly to rules, procedures, and expectations because they believe it's the right thing to do. They use their rationale to strive towards moral goodness and justice. Unfortunately, sometimes the Enneagram One can be misunderstood. While their mission is to help and improve for the benefit of others, they can come across as cold, calculated, or preoccupied with their own work and habits. And when unhealthy, they will overly focus on the shortcomings of others. Because by being critical of others, they don't have to face their own problems, allowing them to safeguard their own standards and what they believe is right. An unhealthy one will have a poor ability to focus on achieving their goals and express great measures of frustration when their expectations are unmet. However, when healthy, Enneagram Ones can hold space for competing opinions without being overly critical or harsh. They can relax knowing that they can disagree without judging or being demanding. For ones, learning to give themselves and others grace is an essential step towards growth and health. Hey, if you're still unsure of your type, be sure to grab the free guide in the description for 4 free ways to help you discover your Enneagram type even without taking a test. And if you relate to the characteristics and traits of an Enneagram 1, let me know in the comments. If this video helped you, be sure to like it and don't forget to subscribe. This is Evan from EnneagramGift.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.